Welcome to the Land Your Bet Sports Betting Show. It is Tuesday, getting into this 7-game slate with some best bets and picks that I do have for you as I bring you these videos each and every day around this time, 2 p.m., 3 p.m. Eastern, right in that range. Also had projections and look-aheads at this slate from last night, bringing that video out as well. So 2 a day, 1 the night before, 1 just like this one. Quick reminder to subscribe to that page. I am going to be taking you through a few of the best bets that I have, Playa Props that I already made here for today on Tuesday in this 7-game slate. This is what we ran through last night, was just looking at a couple of the teams on back-to-backs. We've got Brooklyn and Dallas both playing on a back-to-back here. Miami's on the front end versus Orlando before they take on San Antonio tomorrow. I do want to continue to show you some of these injuries as well, because that is why I don't love this slate, to be honest with you. If you look at the Thunder, Isaiah Joe is out, but the key thing here is Jalen Williams without the Y. J-Dub, the second one listed here, is questionable. He was at shoot-around today, and it's just sort of like I don't know exactly what's going to happen, because originally Coach Daigneault said on Friday of last week that it was at least 3 games or so that we were going to see J-Dub out of the lineup, and that we might not see him until this upcoming Friday. However, he was at shoot-around on Tuesday, and he is a big deal. He makes a big deal to this game. I kind of like Utah 3.5 without him, but with him, I can't pull a trigger on Utah to win. So I'm staying away from that because I still don't know what's going to happen to him. Same consideration for props on the side of the Thunder. With him in, he's the second best player on offense for them alongside Chet. We'll say 2A and 2B. And as a result, so much is impacted by his presence or absence. So we got to wait to see on that. This one's got Dame and Brook Lopez questionable. My assumption is Dame plays, Brook Lopez does not. However, both of those players are also so important to what I would pick for player props for both sides of this game, especially the Bucks, that I just can't pull the trigger on anything from this game right now either, even though I love the potential value in both of these games between the Jazz one here and this Suns and Bucks game. Can't do anything with it. Similar concept with the Bulls, who Alex Caruso is their best defender on the wing, and they are so thin at guard and all over the floor, including Pat Williams, who's a pretty solid perimeter defender, or at least a wing defender for them / down low a little bit. Mostly, like I said, a versatile defender who is him being out is a big deal for how I might be able to make some plays in this game as well. So we're staying away from that. I will show you what I have from last night. If you did miss that video, I still hope that you go back and like it and subscribe to the page if you would. Like I said, bringing you this stuff every day. So Fred VanVleet's out in this one. That's a big deal. We know that he's out. And that is kind of why I like Indy a little bit to handle things. But Houston might surprise us, especially if Alpi Şengün goes off. And I like him to at least get the assist. We got that at a better number. Last night, it was at -130 on FanDuel, but DraftKings came out with a better number today. That's the one that I played again. So I hit it last night with a unit, but I'm playing it at better odds here at the -115 that I get as well, because I like Şengün to have his way in this one. A bunch of you asked me about the points, rebounds, and assists. I love it. I do. I like all of it. I just love the extra value I just got on the assist, because I still think those are very low. He got 5 against this team last time. I think he's in line to get at least 6 in this one. So I like the 5.5 there. Second best bet. And by the way, I just want to give you a quick preview. A number of you have also asked me about how I find the stuff that I find. There's 2 particular things that I want to show you. You might be familiar with FanDuel Fantasy Sports Pro. They have a really good team versus defense, player versus position versus defense type of standing chart that I can show you that's really helpful. Some of you probably already know about it. The other one is matchups in the NBA. You can see who is guarding whom if you go into NBA.com advanced stats, go into the box scores of these games, and then you can find that. So I'm going to show that to you here in a second after I get through these best bets with you. John Collins, over 7.5 boards for him, -120 on DraftKings. Look, man, we took him at over 8.5 in a game that we were kind of worried about a blowout win against the 76ers. Tyrese Maxey came out and gave us 50 points to help the 76ers not only stay close in that game, but win that game against Utah. Now we get it at 7.5 in a better rebounding matchup for whomever is playing center against the Oklahoma City Thunder. So we're taking it at 7.5, even though we eat a little bit of that juice there at -120. 16 rebound chances over his last 7. And he came back from injury 7 games ago. The first 2 games he played, he was it was like 9 games ago now. But either way, the first 2 games that he played, he was out of commish. He was coming back, getting the minutes back up to a normal number for him, which is now back up to 30 minutes per game, which is second on the team behind only Lauri Markkanen. He's a small ball 5 now. That's just what it is. You see a ton of him and Lauri Markkanen on the floor together. Simone Fontecchio plays outside, but he's very tall as well. So you have like 3 very solidly tall dudes on your lineup. plus very good rebounding guards with Chris Dunn and Colin Sexton. So they feel fine having John Collins there as a small ball center, and he's rewarded them by getting double-digit boards over the last 5. He's averaging 10.3 on those 16 rebound chances. He's, like I said, got the minutes. OKC is terrible against centers, at limiting their rebounds. They're terrible at limiting rebounds. And so the position most likely to rebound against them is centers. They give up the 4th most rebounds to that position, 2nd most overall in the season. I talked about it in the projections last night. This is how Utah wins this game, if they do, which is they just pound this team down low. They don't have much shooting. They either have shooting when they have the Keontae George and Jordan Clarkson lineup out there a bit more, or they don't, and they keep it with Colin Sexton and company, who like, it's just not a great shooter. He's shooting above his pay grade lately. Either way, this game is one that I like John Collins to succeed in a lot, especially with those minutes against Chet Holmgren. Last bet that I am bringing you, and I don't love this slate, like I mentioned, so that's why this video is a little bit shorter, and these picks are a little bit shorter, and it gives me some time to actually illustrate some of the stuff that you guys have been asking me in the comments, like I said a minute ago. So for Tyrese, it's interesting. I'm going over 5.5 assists for him. Minus 105 on MGM, and this is where line shopping comes into play, because line shopping is the act of making sure that you check all of the sports books that are available to you to see what their juice is, what the odds are on the bet they're giving you. Tyrese Haliburton here on BetMGM is over 5.5 assists. On every other book, every other major book that you might have, I don't know about some of the smaller ones in your local state, check them out, always. That's called line shopping. If you're not line shopping, you're just not betting. Honestly, the whole point of this is to find the best number and then go get it, right? And so the best number here is 5.5 assists at minus 105 for Haliburton. Everywhere else is 6.5, right? 6.5 assists. And a lot of those are, if you want to take over 6.5, it's like minus 120, minus 115. That sounds like not that much of a difference in the odds there, but minus 105, it's 10 cents for every dollar that you want to spend. So that really is going to turn into a lot of money the more money you bet, right? It adds up not even over a long period of time. It adds up over like a week or a month. It can make a huge difference in your profit if you're betting at a decent volume. So with Haliburton here, I got to take the really nice number. I thought about going under because I was like, oh, minutes restriction. That's my first thought. 6.5 is so high for a guy with minutes restriction. Then I find 5.5. And the thing is he's got a ton of assists per minute. Like basically at this point, he's like averaging an assist every half a minute, right? And so the 12 potential assists in 21 minutes, the last 3, really solid. And those were in games where, 1, they didn't really need, and 2, they were playing the other 2 that he went under. They were playing some decent teams. Like Sac actually does limit point guard assists. So Houston, while they've been awesome against point guards limiting assists on the season, in the last 30 days, we've seen that come down a little bit. Plus, we get them on the road. And when they're on the road, everything just diminishes, as we know as well, because we've talked about that a number of times, where the home road splits for Houston and the Jazz, those are 2 of the most stark splits from home to road in terms of how good your defense is, how good your offense is, right? Net rating goes from way up high, and a really good defensive rating for the Rockets, who have been a top 5 defense when at home. Away from home, not the case. We're talking about a bottom 12 or so defense in that situation. And they do start to tend to let up a bunch more assists, where they're second in limiting assists when they're at home. They're outside the top 10 when they are on the road. So we're going to go ahead and take Tyrese Haliburton to surprise us all a bit here, I think, and potentially even play above the minutes that we have him restricted to at 22. Maybe they stick to it, and Rick Carlisle is like, no, I put my foot down as the coach, and you are not playing more than 22 minutes. Everybody can tell the frustration that is just boiling over between he and his teammates, that he just can't stay on the floor in the 4th quarter because of this minutes restriction. We'll see how they react to it, if at all. All right, the quick summary of what we got here. We're just playing 3 units today. I got a lot of units up over the course of the last week and a half, and I don't really feel like losing them just because I need to force some bets. So as I said, stinky poopy slate on Tuesday, not loving it. So let's go with just 3 units on 3 bets to win 2.7 back. With Şengün, I did get that minus 105 in there. So if you are seeing this one, you can go ahead and get that available now to you. If you don't have BetMGM and you have a friend who does, just saying, John Collins over 7.5 boards, Tyrese Haliburton over 5.5 assists. Let's just get a little sweep. It's a simple, small little bet of cards here. So let's get that. This is how we did on Monday. We were 2 Cam Thomas points away from a sweep and another massive night, but we will never complain when we win money. Plus 0.2 units on the day there, 3-2 total. It's those Playa Props, man, that are just jumping off the screen at me. 3-0, plus 1.7. And if we had just stuck to the straights and maybe take Nick Claxton and Cam Thomas separately, we would have won even more money. But I digress, because the Player Props in the last week, 16-5, plus 10.4 units. You love to see it. So let's keep it going with this stuff here. 31.9 units up on the season on the Playa Props. Love that beautiful 157 and 105 total. on those the numbers there, and the 178, 143 total on the year, plus 14.6 units. That's what we care about. How much money are we making? And I will take 14.6. Love to get it up to 20 before the All-Star break, which is in about 3 weeks. So, all right, so we're taking a look at how to look at box score matchups to find out one-on-one matchups between players. So it's really simple. Let me just use an example from Monday on the 5th, and we'll take the Dallas Mavericks. All right, so we go into the box score for the Mavs and for the Philadelphia 76ers. Going to go down into the box score, as you can see here. Now you have the option to change exactly what you're looking at here with these stats, right? So you can either keep it to traditional stats, 20 points. You can look at field goals made, 3-pointers. That's all the normal stuff that you would imagine most basketball fans understand. Then you go into the different type of stat categories that are super helpful in a lot of ways. You can really look at individual player numbers as well. I'll go through some of these in a future video with you about exactly what these mean, such as like rebound chances, contested field goals, uncontested field goals, all that stuff right here. That's super important as well, because you want to know how well are our teams closing out on guys, how well are they playing defense, or how much are they trying really on defense as much as anything. But what we're talking about for right now is matchups, and this will take 2 seconds, but it's so helpful, right? And so now you have the option within this matchups tab to either change who the offensive player is that you're focused on or the defensive player, right? I want to know who guarded Luka Doncic last night. So I'm going to go over to the offensive player tab, select Luka. I can scroll down and obviously go to the Philly players as well, but I'm going to select Luka. And I'm going to just look real quick at minutes for this. Minutes indicates who spent the most time on him. Unsurprisingly, the best lockdown defender on the 76ers, Jaden Springer, dude has been clamps this year. So really no surprise to see him being the main defender on Luka. Kelly Oubre did a decent job as well, but then you can see all the numbers for who it was and how Luka did, how the team did when Jaden Springer was guarding Luka. I would say that limiting to Luka to 3 points in 4.5 minutes is incredible. 1 for 5 as well, and 1 for 4 from 3. It's possible that Luka just missed some open shots. As I said, we could actually see how many open shots Luka took and missed or made if we want. But more importantly for right now, just looking at the Jaden Springer stuff, really helpful stuff, right? Then we can also say, all right, well, if I just want to know who did I know who Jaden Springer guarded. Who did B-ball Paul Reed guard for the majority of the time he was in? So I go here and I see he guarded Maxi Kleber for the majority of the game, Derek Jones Jr. as well. And so now what I do with this information is I use it moving forward, right? I just figure out how it is that I can use that in my projections moving forward the next time that, say, the Mavericks and the 76ers play. If we have similar guys in for both teams and we're not missing too many other guys, I know that Maxi Kleber is probably going to be the guy predominantly guarding Paul Reed if Joel Embiid's not in. I know that if no matter what, Jaden Springer is going to be doing the majority of the work guarding Luka alongside Kelly Oubre, as we just saw as well, because he was in there with starters. So that is all the time I have for you. I hope you got a little bit of something out of it. Because I only had 3 picks, I wanted to jump in and use the back end of this time to show you guys this interesting stuff here with the matchups. Always remember that the defense versus like the team versus position sort of matchups are important. Like, how does this team guard this position and that position? But it's a one-on-one matchup at the end of the day in the NBA. And if a guy is guarded by a certain player on the other team who's not very good, or perhaps one of the defenders on the good team is out, and now that does nothing for me to know how a team does versus an individual. I want to know how do individuals do against other individuals, and that's what box score matchup stuff shows me. So continue to follow along if you like what you're getting. I'm going to get a video out for college hoops. I know I got a lot of questions about that as well, with Oaks, who's going to be coming back on the channel here tonight to put out a video for tomorrow's slate in college land there. So continue to subscribe to that page if you would, or if you have not yet. Like these videos and jump in the comments. I'm coming to you guys with those answers that I've gotten questions to in the last couple of days on these videos. I'm not leaving you hanging, I promise. I'll be back. And until I see you next, happy betting.